Good morning and welcome to another episode of OT Investigate. In today's episode, we're going to be having a quick look at shooting in SBG. I've done a bit of analysis on where you can get value from and which are the best and worst shooting units in the game. Now, basically, we're going to split today's video into two main sections. There's going to be the first section, which is just focused purely on shooting, irrespective of points value or anything like that. It's just which are the best shooting units. Then the second section, we're going to introduce a sort of value element, so which units give you the best value for points when you are focusing purely on shooting. Now, I just want to make it clear, we're not considering spears or anything like that. I've basically just equipped all these units with a bow and in the cheapest way they can be, so it's purely just what's giving you the most bang for your buck when you are shooting. So starting with the sort of best shooting units in the game, irrespective of points, to nobody's surprise, it's going to be elves and Dale. Now, to work this out, I've chucked it all in a spreadsheet and I've done some formulas and stuff that basically let me work out what will be the expected wounds from 10 shots when you have not moved. So, for instance, if you've got a high elf warrior with a bow, with an elf bow shooting at a defense 3 unit, you would expect to do 3.33 wounds from 10 shots. So what you can see is elves and Dale put up huge numbers. They're phenomenally good shooting, especially against those key breakpoints at D5 and D7. They do really well. Second place in this sort of table was a bit of a surprise, though. It was the Citadel Guard, and I hadn't really anticipated this, but then he has that 4+ shoot and has that strength 3 bow. So I guess, yeah, when you actually think about it, he does bring some really good firepower in that back line. The worst shooting unit at 24 inches in the game is the Ruffians. They have a shoot value of 5, and they are the I think they are actually the only unit in the game with a shoot value of 5 and a 24-inch bow. But yeah, if you compare them to the Elves and Dale, they're basically wounding at best half as often and usually significantly less. So you're getting much less value from that shooting, and really beyond those honesty bows, there's not much point bringing those on Ruffians. Looking at other types of bows, so these are going to be short bows and also crossbows. The best short bows in the game is actually the Dwarf Warrior. He slightly beats out the Hobbit Archer by virtue of having a 4+ shoot value and a strength 3 bow. Now, obviously, the Hobbit Archer has the 3+ shoot value, but that strength 2 does just knock him down slightly. You'll see that actually at some breakpoints, the Hobbit Archer does better, and at other breakpoints, the Dwarf Warrior does better. So they are very comparable, and obviously, we'll come later, the Hobbit Archer represents much better value. When it comes to crossbows, you have 3 options: Arbalesters, Uruk Warrior, and the Iron Hills Dwarf with crossbow. And all of them have identical shoot values, shoot value of 4, and they have that crossbow at strength 4. And you'll see they do compare pretty favourably with the units above, pretty similar to the Citadel Guard, apart from, again, at those key breakpoints where they do just hit that little bit harder. So yeah, without moving, crossbow's pretty good, but Elves and Dale do just stand slightly above them in terms of the value you're going to get for the most part. Moving down, we're now going to be talking about what units give you the best value. So these are going to be the ones that you're paying sort of less of a premium for, but you can actually get the most value from. And starting out again with those 24-inch bows, the best ones in the game is actually the Dale Warrior, because he comes in marginally cheaper than the Wood Elf Warrior. A Dale Warrior, you can get him with a bow for 9 points. A Wood Elf Warrior will be 10 points, so that's just why they're marginally better. But you can see they both put up really good numbers. Basically, the way I've worked this out, just to be clear, is I've taken the above numbers, so when we worked out how many wounds they would do for those 10 shots if they didn't move, and I've just divided them by their points cost. So this will give you how many wounds you'd expect to do from those 10 shots for every point you spend. So again, in and itself, not a hugely valuable number, but just gives us a way to compare one unit to another. Moving on to the worst ones, and this, hurts to see because they do need a bit of love, but it's the Athgiliath Veterans and the Numenor Warriors. Yeah, you do pay a big premium with these guys, and then putting the bow on them as well with that 4+ shoot value and only strength 2 really doesn't give you a lot of firepower beyond a few honesty bows. And definitely in Gondor, there's got to be better options for those honesty bows. Only just beating them out by virtue of being a point cheaper is the Easterling Bowman. Similar problem, 4+ shoot value, strength 2 bow, not hugely relevant beyond an honesty bow. And then actually the third unit, which caught me a little bit off by surprise, is the Mirkwood Ranger. But again, you do pay a premium for their sort of knife fighters ability rather than just pure shooting. So yeah, they aren't actually great value, but they do obviously represent a very different kind of shooting unit. For the best short bows in the game, and actually the best value bow in the game by a fair distance, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised by this, it is the Hobbit Archer. For the points value pay of just 5 points, getting a shoot value of 3 and strength 2 bow is really good. Obviously not great range, but yeah, getting that level of accuracy and the amount of shooting you can also put in with Hobbit Archers is really strong. Orc Trackers also did really well. A 4+ shoot value and only being 5 points really puts in a lot of work here. So actually, even though I think they're actually one of the only evil units that made one of the better lists, it is a real good example of evil shooting. So yeah, looking at the worst short bows in the game, it's going to be the Mordor Uruk-hai, just beating out the Ruffian and the basic Orc Warrior. Again, that Mordor Uruk-hai, even though it does have 4+ shoot, suffers from being expensive to equip an Orc bow to, and it's only an 18-inch range with that 4+ shoot. And then yeah, while the Orc Warrior and the Ruffian are a little bit cheaper, you're still going to really struggle to get value from that 5+ shoot beyond a few honesty bows. Then finally, moving on to the crossbows and looking at the value for points. The Arbalesters give you a little bit better value just because they're 1 point cheaper than the alternatives. And yeah, they do hit a little bit harder. They might actually be 2 points cheaper. I'll have to check that. I think they might be 1 point cheaper. So yeah, they're just marginally better, but again, pretty good value, better than the Mordor Uruk or the Orc Warrior, but actually still lagging a little bit behind the really elite options, the Dale and the Hobbit Archer there. So yeah, crossbows, not brilliant value for points, but obviously give you some real high roll potential. That about wraps it up. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, this isn't meant to be like a tactical insight. This is literally just looking at which shooting units and how well they're priced and which ones could potentially give you the most firepower for the points. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you for the next one.